Great, thank you very much. First of all, I just want to start off again by thanking CSAP in general and a lot of your members specifically who helped us with this conference. There was a lot of work from a lot of people, and I personally, as well as the ministry in general, really appreciated all the input that everyone gave, and also to CSAP for sponsoring the speaker breakfast. That was fantastic. It got everybody together and helped me do my job a lot easier. And specifically, Beth Power and Eric Pringle for helping with the program that we had. So I just thought I'd go. We sent out a survey. I'm not sure if you all received it, but hopefully you had a chance to look at it. And I thought I'd just share some of the results quickly. Because there was so much input from everyone here, I thought you might want to see what people had to say, and might help you with some of your things as well, because they certainly will guide what we do. And then we'll talk about some of the discussion, and now what we're going to do with all of this information. So I sent out a survey, and these are the results. Overall, I think it was a well-received conference. I think a number of you probably were there. I hope you enjoyed it and got some good information, but I've received some really good feedback on the speakers and the topics, and I think people were quite happy with the whole thing. So big comments on the venue, they liked that, and they liked the length and the number of streams. They liked the choice, although some people felt they had a hard time picking between going, but overall they thought that was great. We need to work on a couple things like room size. People wanted more case studies and to go a little more in depth into some of the topics that we covered, but overall, again, lots of good feedback on content. And I think for the most part, everybody felt that it was relevant to what they do, and that it does help in their daily work and responsibilities. So that was great. I think our intention was to go beyond the usual updates that we do here, which are I think very useful, but we already have this venue to do that. And so it was good to hear that stepping away from that a little bit was well received, and people found it relevant and interesting. And this is all for all of you speakers out there who participated. Your work was very well received, and people did think you knew what you were talking about, and they enjoyed listening to you. So congratulations to you all. And then I asked, what would people like to see covered in the future? So because we sort of steered away from our traditional giving updates, I think some people kind of missed that and were wondering where that was. But again, we provide that here, and we may have some smaller events that we continue to do that with. Lots of people thought that we needed to look more at upstream oil and gas, so that might be a future topic, as well as going farther with some of the sustainable remediation talks and looking at really maximizing the use of it here in BC. And I think people really liked the fact that we were trying to connect with other jurisdictions, other levels of government, and trying to get that communication started, because I think that might be a barrier sometimes when you're doing your work. So a lot of people were glad to see we were all at least in the same room trying to get that going. So there was a lot of notes that came out of this conference. Many, many, many pages, which I have gone through. I only gave you 5 points, but there's a lot more that we're looking at, and using it to, with John's work on changes to the legislation and looking at new topics to try to address through some of our policy. And there will be, I'm not sure when, but we will post them with the presentations on the website. It's just a matter of getting it so it's easy to read and understand and connect properly to the session slides. But in general, a lot of the comments were around the fact that the ministry is very conservative in a lot of our thinking and potentially creates barriers for remediation. I'm not suggesting that we're going to do anything too different in that area, but certainly that was a big comment that came up a few times. And the other big one that happened quite a bit was that, again, that communication between the regulators and the practitioners and stakeholders, particularly around risk and risk assessment and the certainty when you start projects like that, where things are going to go. And I think there was a number of local government people that wanted more certainty and more communication in that area. And funding for brownfields came up, liability transfer, and that remediation options analysis is not out there all the time. So I think there were a number of comments about, one, how to promote that as a ministry and get people practicing those types of analysis when they do their projects, and how can we help with that, how can we encourage that, and how can we make that the way to move forward in our requirements and policy. So, like Colin said, these are some possible discussion papers for public review and some of the things we're working on. Again, I'm just the messenger, so if you have any questions about these, they would go to John as well. And so I would just send everything to John and we'll figure it out. But these are a number of the possible discussion papers that after looking at some of the notes that we could move forward on. I'm not going to read them all, but just to say that there's a site profile discussion paper in progress right now to look at that system or has it started? Yeah, to look at that system, and then I think the next one after that will be soil relocation, and that's a big one, especially for me, because I think there needs to be some clarity and changes to that. And just a few more things. So it looks like we have a lot to do, and we'll probably be working with CSAP on a lot of these documents and certainly looking for feedback. But just to reiterate, we're taking the comments very seriously. We found that very useful to get that information through the conference and through some of the discussions that happened in some of those sessions. And we're looking to continue to focus on those and move forward in some of our changes.